Hello, everyone. Let me know if you see me. All right. Streaming live into the Fierce Woman community. Let's just double check you can see me here. All right. Yes, I see myself. Awesome. If you see me, drop a hello below. All right. Let me just see here. I see 3 eyeballs. I see Kat, Vivian, Patty said a hello. Thank you. Thank you for dropping your name and saying a hi, just so I know you're with me. Jennifer, Cindy, Kat is saying hello. Awesome. Sherry, Regan. Yes, awesome. All right. If you, oh yeah, I just have to tag. Hi, Jennifer. She's always so wonderful. I'm just going to tag everyone on this. Awesome. All right. So if you are plugging in, you are plugging into live number 122, The Secret to Losing Fat and Building Muscle, which is, I feel like everybody's secret goal. Everyone's secret goal is to want to lose fat and build muscle, right? And even if somebody's, like pretty fit, there is usually a secret that they still want to be just a bit leaner, or they want to have just a bit more muscles, right? So this is going to be an exciting live. If you're joining me here or on YouTube later, please let me know who you are. I love to get to know you and get back to you. Awesome. So again, this is the Fierce Woman community where we sculpt powerful bodies and champion mindsets. And so we're going to start first with some wins, and then we're going to dive into the topic. All right. So yeah, I see lots of things coming in. Hi, Rosalinda. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Lacey. Hi, Terry, Sonia, Majori. I see all of you. Awesome. So first of all, I want to give a shout out to Jody Peebles, who is in my transformation program. She is just starting, really like ending her first week and a half or two, and really starting into the inflammation markers and reducing all of that. And so she's dropped 9.5 inches in 2 weeks, with 3 inches already dropping off her belly. So I'm super proud of her. And we see her body just, like from very bloated, very inflamed to tightening up in just really a week and a half, I would say, of making changes. So super proud of you, Jody. I know she's super busy, so she can't always be in this community all the time. I also want to give a shout out to all our Fierce Factor Formula ladies. All our Fierce Factor Formula ladies, you guys are amazing. So they just completed their first week last week, and these are their metrics. So Yvonne Heller, I'm pretty impressed. In 1 week, she dropped 9 inches and 1.5 pounds off. And she has already decreased 0.5 in her belly and 2.5 off her hips in just 1 week, which is crazy. Kathleen Swiston, you have now dropped 3.7 pounds and 4.75 inches off at the end of 1 week. So really, really proud of you. I know Kathy Michalko, you dropped 1.6 pounds. If you don't know Kathy's story, she actually did my 21-day anti-inflammation system. She did my FFF before. She did my MA before. So she has a lot of base already, but she wants to keep dropping that belly down. So, you're on track here, Kathy, dropping 1.6 pounds. And Tracy Torrain dropped 2.5 pounds off already and 1.75 inches off her body. So obviously in just 1 week, these ladies are already seeing lots of changes. And I know they are now currently learning about macro meals. In our private group, there's a lot of yummy meals being posted. So I'm super excited about that. So all the FFF ladies, huge shout out to all of you. Thank you for all the hearts. Thank you for, cheering them on. I see lots of cheering on, and I see Melissa, Rosens, Loretta, Claire, Rebecca Cartwright, who was in my transformation program, is here as well, and Dawn Richardson. So just a quick note, obviously, I will mention this again, but if you are unsure about our many programs and you want to learn more about our programs, make sure you drop programs below in terms of the inflammation. There's an inflammation program. There is the FFF group coaching. And of course, Jody Peebles is in the transformation program. So if you're like, I don't even know what is what, just drop programs below if you want to learn more about that. Okay. So Yes. So I want to talk a little bit, yeah, all the FFF ladies. I want to talk a little bit about the body recomposition, right? So um, if you haven't seen the anonymous member that I posted the results about, her physique is such a great example of what it takes to body recomposition, because her drop is, I believe it was like 116.36, now 116.3 inches she lost through her body, but she gained back 116.36 inches. And where might you add, right? So when we look at her body, it's like she lost the majority of that through her belly, her visceral fat, her low back fat, all that extra fat that she had, she lost a lot of that. And that was what those inches were. But what was the 116.36 inches coming back on her body was all muscle, because she started gaining back muscle, she started gaining shoulder muscles, butt muscle, leg muscles. And you guys, if you guys have not seen that body recomposition picture or photo, drop body recomposition, and we'll tag you on that, because I think you have to see what it looks like to body recomposite someone, okay? This will look slightly differently than a bulking situation. Like when you see someone bulk, if it was just bulking, you're going to see them have like a lot of bulk, like mass come on their body, right? Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to see all those muscles you see in this anonymous person's client post, because bulking is just getting a lot more muscle, but doesn't mean less fat, right? And reducing fat is also not body recomposition. Losing fat and becoming just skinny is also not body recomposition, right? So this is why if you have not seen that picture of her, put body recomposition below and we will tag you on that so you understand what is body recomposition, okay? I see Tina put that down there. Yeah, I see Tina dropped in, Jennifer dropped in, Heather dropped in, Sylvia's there, Cindy's there, awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the body recomposition, okay? The definition of body recomposition is referring to simultaneously gaining muscle at the same time as losing body fat, okay? So you're overall improving your body composition because you're reducing fat, increasing muscle. So the goal of body recomposition is to improve muscle definition and overall body shape, okay? So again, I'm going to say that again. The goal of body recomposition is to improve muscle definition and improve overall body shape, okay? Yeah, I see your request as well, Dawn. We will tag you on that. So let's talk a little bit about the traditional fitness goals, okay? Traditionally, if someone wants to gain a lot of muscle, this is where you're going to see someone talk more about bulking, right? So bulking is gaining a lot of muscle mass, and then there's cutting, which is losing a lot of body fat. So usually in the traditional method, they will either focus on gaining muscle, so bulking up for your muscles, or cutting to lose fat and maybe shred out. Is there still a place for those things? Absolutely. And I'm going to just give a really brief rundown between the pros and cons of body recomposition, okay? I specialize in body recomposition. I specialize working with menopausal women, specifically at this stage of life and their hormone profiling, okay? So the first thing is, hi, Debbie. I love Debbie. She's amazing. She's one of our angels. Give her lots of hearts. All right. So the pros of body recomposition is it doesn't go for extreme approaches. Okay. Body recomposition takes away the need to go extreme. And this means that in the second pro is that it allows for someone to have more balanced and sustainable approach, okay? This more balanced and sustainable approach allows people to kind of live life a little bit more, and it's just overall more sustainable, okay? So that's the pro of body recomposition, meaning it doesn't go in extreme kind of directions, and it's a little bit more balanced and a little bit more sustainable. This is where I like to sit, although if I was to train a competitor, it wouldn't be quite like this. And this is where I'm going to get into the cons, okay? I see Tracy jumped in. Hi, and Dawn. Awesome. You made it your first live. Woohoo! Give Dawn lots of hearts. First live. I'm glad you're here live. Okay, so the cons is in body recomposition, you likely cannot build as much muscle under this approach, okay? But what most people are looking for is not for extreme amounts of muscle gain. If you are on here, 31 eyeballs, are looking to compete and you are looking for massive amounts of muscle gain, then you might need to go into a bulking phase. That is true. Clarice went into a bulking phase. So if you look at my competition photos, I had a lot of muscle. My back was just extremely jacked, right? I had a bulking phase, okay? But most people, some people look at my back and they were like, I don't really want that. And so you have to decide for yourself what you want, okay? You under body recomposition, you're not going to likely gain massive amounts of muscle. So that's a con. It will be more gradual of a change in body recomposition, meaning it's going to take a little bit more time. It's a little bit more gradual. That anonymous member who had a really great body recomposition, we did it over 11 months of time. And so we did it gradually. There was no quick, like 3-4 months and like get you to stage as sometimes competition is, because also in my opinion, sometimes that's a little bit unhealthy and the rebound, if anyone has competed before, can be extreme. And so this is why sometimes competitors like rebound like crazy in their weight and stuff like that. So the con of body recomposition is it just takes a little more time. It's a little more gradual. It's a little bit more sequential. You have to use a very sequential approach to approach body recomposition. Okay, it's not as fast as bulking or shredding. Yes, Debbie will tag you on the replay. Awesome. Also, a third con of body recomposition is a little bit harder to achieve. So there's a couple of reasons behind this. Because body recomposition takes a bit longer, a lot of people will struggle if they don't have good systems and structure and understanding of muscle building and nutrition at the same time. They can never really reach it. It just takes so much longer of a time frame that people tend to fall off or they veer off or whatnot. So body recomposition is a little bit harder to achieve. There are some people who don't agree with it. Some people says your body can only gain muscle at one time, one signal, and or lose fat. You can't really do that together. Studies have proven you can do it. I have proven you can do it. I have done this with many of my ladies, but it just takes a little bit more time and a very structured approach, okay? I see lots of people jumping in, still at 30 eyeballs. Hi, Anna. Hi, Portia. That's a nice name. I like your name. So we're going to talk about, what is the secret to losing body fat and increasing muscle? That's what you guys are all here for. I'm going to go through 5 main points. Obviously, under every point, there is going to be like more information attached to it. So before I dive into it, how many people here, I'm curious with 31 eyeballs watching, is wanting body recomposition, or you want to bulk, or you want to shred? Please put it below. Tell me who you are. Are you want to bulk? You want to shred? You want body recomposition? So put it below where you sit in this category. Okay. So, all right. I'm just going to shift here a little bit. Okay, perfect. So the first thing, okay, the very first step of this secret in a 15,000 group, okay? That's why I jokingly laugh, it's just, I like to make it so it's exciting to be on this live. And thank you for 32 eyeballs joining me. All right. So the first thing is you have to begin lowering chronic inflammation in your body. And again, Clarice will sound like a broken record, but chronic inflammation is detrimental to your body. Now, I speak a lot about this. I see lots of body recomposition coming in. So yeah, that's great. So I think majority of this call is about body recomposition. We do have someone, Karen, wanting to shred. That's awesome, Karen. Are you in competition right now? Just curious because you want to shred. Rosalind says shred. So it's just mainly want to shred the fat. So yeah, there are some people, a majority wants bulking. Yeah, so see, there's people with different goals on here. Thank you for commenting, everyone. So let's talk about lowering chronic inflammation, okay? So there's a few reasons why you need to lower chronic inflammation in your body, okay? Number one, lowering chronic inflammation in your body corrects hormone signaling within your body. If your hormone signals are off, which already, ladies, in menopause, postmenopause, your hormones are already a little bit more shaky. And if you have chronic inflammation in your system, then you're going to have improper hormone signaling, okay? And so improper hormone signaling will lead to difficulty in gaining muscle and losing fat. Okay, so lowering chronic inflammation is important, number one, for correcting hormone profiling in your body. Number two, it's still kind of similar, but I'm just segmenting this out, is it helps lower cortisol. So for those of you who have been with me a long time, you know I speak a lot about cortisol. So cortisol is the stress hormone, and cortisol creates, unfortunately, a catabolic situation. And see Oshone, our beautiful Oshone, who is my right-hand girl, an assistant coach, she also wants body recomposition. Like most people want to lose fat and gain muscle. So number two, why you need to lower chronic inflammation is because if you spike cortisol in your system improperly, I'll talk about a proper way to spike it later, it will create a catabolic state where it breaks down your muscle. Okay, so this is why I'm specifically, and I always address inflammation and particularly chronic inflammation in my lives, but particularly with women that I work with in my programs. There's even a specific program dealing with inflammation. This is why I address it. I'm going to talk very specifically. I see lots of body recomposition coming in. Thank you everyone for contributing. Hi, Debbie and Olga. So I want to talk specifically about how chronic inflammation affects muscle building. So we jump over this point, you've already lost the game. Let me tell you, if you 36 eyeballs now on here, jump over understanding how to correct chronic inflammation in your body, you have taken away a lot of your power to do proper body recomposition. So all my ladies in the 21-day anti-inflammation system, congratulations. You guys are on track. I know you guys are learning so much right now. I think you guys are eating my turmeric soup or something like that. I don't know what the meal that I had you guys on. So the first way that chronic inflammation will affect muscle building is chronic inflammation creates a negative impact on anabolism. Anabolism or anabolic state is the muscle growing state of your body, okay? So chronic inflammation actually interferes with the signaling pathway for muscle protein synthesis, okay? So inflammatory molecules that are in the system from the inflammation actually disrupts the process of muscle growth. It interferes with your muscle building pathway, okay? So that's one of the first reasons why chronic inflammation needs to be dealt with. Number two, chronic inflammation leads to more muscle protein breakdown. So with more inflammation, your body is fighting the muscle growth. And so remember, your body's always making decisions either to grow muscle or to break muscle down. So if you have chronic inflammation in your system, your body's receiving more signals to break muscle down than to grow muscle. So now you're fighting a bit of a losing battle, especially when you understand, thank you. I have moods for things. Sometimes I'm like, I'm in a black mood today, put something on here. So thank you, Pratibha. So in terms of muscle growth, your women in menopause, sorry, losing train of thought here. Women in menopause are already fighting a losing battle. If you have followed me, you understand that your current hormone profiling naturally leads to muscle loss. So if you don't deal with chronic inflammation, you're fighting multiple signals that are forcing more muscle breakdown than growth, okay? So That's number two. So chronic inflammation affects muscle building. Number one, it has a negative impact on anabolism. Number two, it affects muscle breakdown faster. Number three, it affects insulin resistance. So chronic inflammation is linked to insulin resistance because it actually will hinder your muscle cells from uptaking the right nutrients it needs for repair and growth. Okay, so sorry, just gonna adjust some things here. It's going to hinder your process of actually uptaking nutrients properly. Insulin resistance, obviously insulin affects sugar and the uptake of sugar molecules and all of that. If it has an insulin resistance, it means that your cells cannot uptake sugar and carbs and different things the right way. And of course, you need those nutrients to grow muscle. So chronic inflammation creates more insulin resistant, which again affects your ability to build muscle. Okay. Number four, if you have chronic inflammation, as I mentioned above, it will increase your cortisol, and long-term elevated cortisol levels actually forces your muscle to break down and prevents proper muscle recovery. So this is why I say number one, out of all the things I talk about, you need to address inflammation. All my programs across, I don't care which program you're in, I address number one, and all my current clients can attest to this, is what? All my current clients, you guys know this. My number one thing I address with you when you enter my program is macros? No, right? You guys know what I'm saying. The number one thing I address with all my clients across the board in any one of my programs is inflammation, because of how important this is and how important it is for menopausal women. For you guys, you in your age range need to deal with this more than the 20-year-old. Okay. Yeah. Debbie's in my program, says inflammation. Portia guessed it. She's on my program, but she said inflammation. Jennifer says inflammation. Oshone says inflammation. Hi, Laura. Good to see you. Barb and Lydia, so you guys popped in. Yvette, you popped in, and Brenda, Barry, and Melanie as well. So yes, inflammation. So before I dive into number two, what I want everyone who's listening to put below is, if you know you struggle with inflammation, or you know this is something you've never really prioritized getting to know, and you don't have the body composition of what you want, and you know you need help with inflammation, I want you to put inflammation below to indicate you need help with inflammation. Okay, so put below inflammation if you feel like you need help with inflammation, or you never even addressed that area before and skipped over the first step. Yeah, you skip over the first step, all the stuff, the things you're doing, going to the gym, all that stuff is not that it is not valuable. You're just missing the foundation, right? You're missing what is very important from the very beginning. So put inflammation below if you feel like you need help with inflammation. So yes, Robin, I got your message. Hopefully I will get back to you, or Oshone will get back to you on that. I see Sabine, you jumped in. I see Jennifer says inflammation. Yvette says inflammation. Dawn says inflammation. And Anasia, you never addressed it. So that means that's something that needs to be looked at, right? Awesome. Thank you everyone for jumping in. Oh, hi, Yvonne. Good to see you. Ivana gave you a huge shout out for dropping 9.5 inches off your body first week, Yvonne. So proud of you. Yes, a lot of information coming in. All right. So you guys now know number one, you need to address that. Number two is proper resistance training program. So this is what is the second step in body recomposition, which is building muscle and losing fat. Okay, number one was addressing chronic inflammation in your system. Number two is to have proper resistance training programs. So why is this important? Well, I think this one's pretty logical. If you want to build muscle, then you need to activate the muscle fibers, correct? In order to build muscle, you have to have mechanical damage to your muscle fibers, okay? This is actually where, interestingly, okay, you guys ready for this? Interestingly, your body actually needs acute inflammation, not chronic, but it needs acute inflammation from training. Okay, so let's really dissect this. I said, number one, you have to address and bring down chronic inflammation. Number two, you need a good resistance training program to create acute inflammatory response. Okay, so acute inflammatory response, which is where the muscle fibers break down, is actually good, because what will happen at this point is your body is going to release proper signaling molecules for repair for the muscle, and it is going to activate satellite cell activity. The ones in my 21-day program right now, I think you guys are getting closer to my muscle sculpting masterclass that's in that program now. You guys will hear lots about satellite cell activity. When you create those muscle breakdowns, the satellite cell will get activated, that's circling around muscles. And what they do is they contribute nuclei to the new muscles to form new muscle fibers. So understanding scientifically, how do you build more muscle, okay, is you have to create this mechanical damage, right? So I want to talk about, and this is where I'm going to talking about my Fierce Woman DNA methodology. This is how I base all of my programs on. And obviously the DNA stands for, it's an acronym for different things I like to focus on. So the first thing is D stands for do it right, do it hard, and do it in your mind. This specific part of it is about proper programming and proper execution of muscle building programs. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about proper muscle building programs. So your program should have big compound movements that work multiple muscles, multiple joints, because that is the most efficient way for muscle growth. But it also needs to be paired with proper isolated activities that allows you to further define in the muscles and the nice shapes. So you need compound movements and isolated movements. Your program needs to have proper push-pull splits, proper push-pull splits, and you need to have proper upper and lower body splits. So whoever is designing your program, ensure that you have that type of programming in it. If you have a professional working with you, you probably don't need to worry, because all of that is within our training, right? This is how we think. When we sit there, we think about your body and what we need to design. We are designing it based on this specific concept, okay? Now let's further this with DNA. So the D, right? There's three things I mentioned in it. Do it right, do it hard, and do it in your mind, okay? So let's talk about it. Do it right. Technique is absolutely everything, okay? If you go lift and you lift for years and years and years, and you don't do it with the right technique, you are not going to build the muscle you want. In fact, you may cause more damage than good, and you may be stressing your joint more than your muscle. And I see this really often with women who haven't had a lot of training in lifting, and they're doing things more with their joint than with their actual muscle. So ensuring you get proper technical coaching, ensuring that your movements are in full range of motion, full ROMs. Your full range of motions is extremely important to accomplish the best muscle development. If you don't have someone teaching you these things, ensure you have that. Do it right, do it hard, which means you need to be able to know when to push your muscles harder. You need to know when and at what point to add in the stressors so that you can push for muscle development but not injure yourself. Now, this specific part, some people have no problem. You've been lifting for years, you've gotten coaching, you probably know how to. For anyone who is newer or do not fully understand how to lift weights, this is really important you get proper coaching, because you have to know at what point you can increase your load and increase the stress points so that you don't injure yourself in trying to push yourself, okay? So that's do it right, do it hard, and do it in your mind, okay? So the third element, do it in your mind, is having proper mind-body connection. This is really important for proper muscle activation and recruitment, okay? So if you don't think about that move in your mind, it can be very easy where you actually end up working a different muscle, okay? Your body is really interesting. And I laugh because Clarice has coaches who tell me things, and I laugh because I have things that I compensate, and they correct me on it. Your body is a natural compensation machine. Okay. 33 eyeballs. Thank you for staying with me. Your body is a natural compensation machine. It actually naturally wants to compensate. The reason being is it's a survival mechanism. If you need to climb or run away from that bear and need to like climb up a wall, you're going to use everything in your body to climb up that wall. There's no isolating. There's no like use your back muscle. There's no like, okay, let's develop nice shoulders. There's nothing like that. So your body actually likes to compensate. They like to use other muscles. They like to like not let you isolate. But the art of bodybuilding is actually learning how to properly isolate muscles so you can hit directly into the muscle for more full growth. Okay. So this is why technique is extremely important. And I know Oshone just mentioned very true, teaching FFF ladies this right now because she coaches in the FFF program and the workout portion. She's very specific in the technique that she is addressing with each person. Okay. So this is extremely important. And this is part of my Fierce Woman DNA methodology, right? So the D, this part, ensure that you have a good programming involved. Okay. One of my pet peeves, I'll be honest, is anyone who jumps around all over YouTube, all over the place. It has no structure, no programming, and it like forces your body into stress state. It doesn't know what it's trying to do. You need a structured program and you need proper technical coaching to truly achieve the body that you want in terms of muscle development. Okay. So everyone that's listening, let me ask you, do you have a well-balanced program that is specifically designed for you? Do you have a well-balanced program that is specifically designed for you? Now, maybe you don't. And if you don't, I want you to put programming below, but maybe you do. I'm going to address one more thing. Okay. Now, Clarice was a trainer. Dawn, thank you for saying no. Can you put programming below just so we know? Because sometimes when we go through comments, we actually don't know what yes, no means. Just put programming so we know. Thank you, Dawn. And Anasia as well, putting programming below. So the thing is, I want to address, because Clarice was a trainer in the gyms for 8 years, okay? Just because you have an in-person trainer, it does not mean that you have a proper structure workout program. Okay. I have been there before. And you know what, I think it's part of a journey of a coach learning what works, what doesn't work. Where I used to give like different workouts every single time my clients came. I wanted them to have fun. I wanted them to like just be excited, because you want to, it's, from a place of wanting to have those clients enjoy the workouts. The problem is if you work with a coach or trainer that you're going in to see that's giving you a different workout every single time you go see them, the problem is there is actually no programming. That lack of programming will take away your gains. And you have to ask yourself, if you currently see a trainer who does different things every single time, that is a problem. I know I'm talking to some of you right now. Okay, that is a problem. And if your goal is for fun and just to stay motivated to work out, that's really good. Okay, that will meet your goal of having fun and just enjoying generally working out. If your goal is, I need to specifically change the physique of my body, I want to see good muscle definition in my body, then you have to ask yourself, is the trainer or coach you're seeing giving you a structured program that you have to follow and you have to progressively work at to overload to increase your muscle development? And if the answer is no, then you probably need programming. Just like I said below, if you need programming, better programming, put below programming, because you need to have a sequence to what you're doing. Okay. So I see lots of programming coming in, Dawn, Anna, Anasia, Tina, Marie, Rosen's yeah. Okay. Awesome. So just making sure you understand that. And I say that out of a good place. Okay. I'm sure, and I respect all trainers, but I was there too. I was excited to give my clients lots of different workouts. I want them to have fun, but I realize I see the difference in the results. I see the difference over my over 10 plus years of coaching, the ones that I gave really structured programs and the ones who just had many random workouts when they came see me, and the difference in their body and the difference in results. So I'm just speaking from my own place of also having learned that, and that I want to make sure that you guys understand. Just because you have a trainer at a gym, you see them, it doesn't necessarily mean you are having a proper muscle building program. Okay. So Rosalinda says programming could always improve. Yes, exactly, Rosalinda. So that's why I know Rosalinda was in the transformation program. So making sure, like Rosalinda, you don't jump around too much, a little bit, and some variety is good, but not jumping around too much. Hi, Caroline, good to see you. Awesome. So that is number 2. 34 eyeballs. I love this. So let's review. So we're going through 5 main points of how to build muscle and lose body fat. The first one is you have to address chronic inflammation in your body. Number 2 is you have to have proper resistance training programs. Okay. Number 3 is the big kicker. Number 3 is nutrition. So my Fierce Woman DNA methodology addresses the end portion of this. So DNA, nutrition, okay? You need proper nutrition to support muscle growth and fat loss. This is not necessarily new. However, nutrition is often underlooked for a lot of reasons, okay? And that's why women cannot maybe get the muscle gain that they want or the amount of fat loss that they want, okay? So let's talk about this. Hi, Melissa, and hi, Deborah. Thank you for jumping in. So I want to talk about, I believe, 5 points or 3 or 4 points here around nutrition. So point number one around nutrition, even though I put it at the very beginning, is still you have to address your inflammatory markers and you need to learn what inflames your body. I already talked about that, so I'm not going to go through that. That is point number 1 of nutrition though. Point number 2 is understanding your caloric needs that will allow you to build muscle but lose fat at the same time. So what do I mean by this? In a bulking phase, typically you are going to surplus your calories, probably 300 to 500 calories are where you need to be. So surplusing and caloric surplusing is going to bulk you. So it's recognizing and understanding, like, where does your calories actually need to sit? In body recomposition, we would never put you into that high range unless I knew I was training a competitor like Oshone, who I knew would need that amount of calories to get her there, right? But usually in body recomposition, we want to not be in that level of surplus, but we also don't want to be too low in, hi Teresa, thanks for jumping in and dropping your name, appreciate it. So you also don't want to be too low in your calories, okay? So you don't want to be too high in bulking phase, but you also don't want to be too low where it now stimulates wrong signals in your body, where it's hungry, where cortisol is being spiked. So you have to have a caloric range where it's just enough. Okay. And a lot of that is determined based on a lot of times me knowing that person. So all my clients that I personally work with, including FFF, because Oshone follows my program of coaching, you don't get calories at the beginning. Notice that you have not received any calories right now. Jody, Peoples, you have not received your calorie yet. The reason why we do not give calories at the beginning is I actually have to observe what actually is going on in your body. So I have to, not only do you look at age and genetics, your body type, but what types of activity do you do on a daily basis, your type of stress level, how you handle stress, your level as an athlete, meaning how hard can you push in a workout? How much can you stress your body in a workout, and how much cardio are you doing, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So determining proper caloric intake is actually extremely important in body recomposition, but there's more to it. Of course, I always talk about this, but in proper body recomposition, you need a little bit on the edge. You need to understand where the calories have to sit so that the person doesn't go into complete surplus, but doesn't go below basal, where then they now destroy their metabolism, or I don't want to I shouldn't use that word, that they harm the metabolism, because you can always fix your metabolism. Okay. So this Debbie says, I used to be 600 before Clarice, BC, and 1400 after Clarice. Yeah, I think Debbie was eating 600 to 800 calories when she first came to see me. And in fact, a lot of women I coach are sitting around 900 to 1,000 calories. If you sit around that range, you are in trouble. Any woman listening right now, if you are sitting anywhere between 800, 900, 1,000 calories, you're in trouble. You are now teaching your metabolism to slow down. You're forcing different hormone signals to go up, and you are definitely not in body recomposition. In fact, I'm going to say it more boldly. If you are in an 800, 900,000 calorie range because you're trying to lose fat, you are also creating muscle atrophy. You are breaking down your muscle, and this is against what you want. Body recomposition is about building muscle and losing fat. That is a very delicate balance between where your calories actually have to sit. So you have to get typically a professional that knows what they're doing, that is assessing you to determine what is the proper caloric range. Right now, all my FFF ladies, including Jody in my transformation program, we're watching, right? Everything you're doing, everything you're recording for us, we're watching. And then I ask Oshone, or we record those workout sessions. I watch how you work out. I actually see, are you pushing hard in your workouts? Because some people just can't. They have knee surgery. They just can't push that hard. Well, that may mean that they actually don't need as much calories as I would say for someone else who can push really hard, right? So we're watching right now. I would say you need typically a professional. I would be careful about calculators who calculate caloric things for you. It is going to be good to have general ranges. I mean, it's not like it's out the door. So like if you use a calculator to calculate your caloric range, take it with a grain of salt. May be helpful, a little bit general range, but it's not really specific enough. So you're either going to require a professional to look at it, or you just experiment. Okay. And if you're someone who's like, I don't want coaches, I don't need coaches, that is totally okay as well. You just have to accept that you're going to go through a lot of experimentation. You're going to test, trial, run. You're going to test, trial, run. And you may find out what you need. But I think for a lot of women, that trial running period can take a few years, and they don't have a few years to waste. They don't want to waste 2 years trial running a caloric count when they could probably get a professional work with them for 3 months to help them understand calories and macros more properly. So you just have to keep that in mind, that if you want proper body recomposition, your caloric needs need to be in a proper range, and to just be cautious of that. I am also going to put one more caveat on this, and this is not everyone. This is not every coach. I understand there's amazing coaches out there. I have gotten to know a couple of different programs through different clients. Just be careful that your coach who is working with you is understanding the concept of body recomposition, not bulking. If they're a competition coach, if that is not your goal, then you have to be careful, because if they're putting you into ranges that are high, yes, you need to eat more in order to build muscle, but what range of more is more? Because if you put yourself into a range of more and it's bulking, then you just have to be okay with actually not, it's not body recomposition. You're not gaining muscle and losing fat at the same time. So just be clear on that. But they could be really great coaches. Maybe they know exactly the process they're going to help you with. Just be careful about that, because a few of the people that I've talked to, their ranges in their calorie was way beyond what I would ever put them at. So just, is your expectation correct on what that program is giving you, right? So just understanding that. But there are really, really great coaches too, for sure. I wish I had learned all I did from Clarice when I was younger. But Kat, you also have learned a lot through the transformation and muscle accelerator. And obviously you have a super fit body now. If you haven't seen her photos, she's in I forget which guide we have all the transformations, but she's in one of my guides where I show her body changes. So that's number 2. Point number 3. Okay, so I said you have to have proper caloric ranges. Point number 3 is understanding your macros. Okay, again, I speak a lot about this. If you follow me for a long time, this is one of my primary principles of coaching. Macros is proper protein, carbs, and fat split. Okay, so you do have to be very, very precise with macros when it comes to losing fat and building muscle. In terms of protein, protein is extremely important for muscle building at any stage. So yes, you do need more amino acids. You need your branched chain amino acids, the most leucine and things like that. That is really important for muscle building, needs to be present. So you make sure that whoever's teaching you, you understand that, although sometimes some programs will give you meal plans. So I guess you don't have to worry so much about that. But still, I think like you should understand what you're eating instead of just following a meal plan. So you need to make sure you have proper proteins, proper amino acids. You have to have more protein than you may think, especially in menopause, because your body's hormones are now not supporting muscle growth. So you want to make sure there's more protein involved. You also need to have adequate amounts of carbs. Adequate amounts of carbs produces what's called, I already mentioned this, produces insulin response. The proper insulin response actually enhances your nutrient uptake. So insulin is released in relation to carbs entering the body. So for any woman who's afraid to take carbs in or doesn't know the amount of carbs you should intake for muscle building, this is extremely important because your carb loading is extremely important to the insulin response, which then affects the anabolic pathway of how nutrient is uptake in your body. Okay, so a right amount of carbs produces better anabolic response. This is also a little bit tricky. So this is why you want someone who knows how to dial macros and is expert in macros. Okay, is that you can throw out numbers all the time. However, you have to have the almost like similar to the calories, you have to have almost just the right enough of carbs to produce the right anabolic state for that muscle to grow. Okay, you have to have just enough carbs. Now, this is different for everybody. For the individual who had a perfect body recomposition situation that I posted about, her carb needs were insane, like insane. I already told her that, like she eats 3 times the carbs I do. But not everybody's body is like that, is not like that, right? Hers is a specific situation. So we want to make sure that we don't tip that carb ratio over, because then that will then interfere with building muscle and losing fat. If we tip the carb ratio over, then you're going to actually create a situation where you're building muscle but not losing fat. Does that make sense? So the carb ratio is also very important. Now, how do you determine that? This is part of macro dialing. So my programming has to first deal with inflammation, then it has to deal with proper caloric assignment, then it has to deal with proper macro assignments, and then there's a process called macro dialing. Macro dialing is the gold of creating a beautiful body. Macro dialing is where all the specific things you start to shift in the ratios between protein, carbs, and fat starts chiseling like a sculptor in for every angle of the body, starts producing the exact look you want. Let me tell you, macro dialing is maybe conceptually, maybe not that hard. Maybe some people are like, I don't even know macros. That's conceptually really hard. Once you learn macros and you understand macros, it's not conceptually that hard. What's hard is that the macro dialing process requires someone to stay on a consistent program that allows for consistent monitoring, that allows for consistent macro dialing. This is the most difficult. Most people don't stick to a program long enough. Most people don't stay on macros long enough. Some of my previous clients, Kathy Michalico, I know you came back to FFF the second time. A lot of my other clients fall off of macros. They don't do macros anymore. And what happens is you lose the ability to monitor and dial the process of macros. The ones who have actually helped that have competed before, you might know this, Oshone or some of my other competitors, it's years of sticking to a macro range and then allowing your coach to dial that process so that you can achieve the most defined look possible. So coming back to this, I'm seeing people saying macro dialing, they want help with macro dialing. We will note that down. Yvonne, is there a percentage of protein, carbs, and fat that you recommend? So I'm getting there and I'm going to address that specific question, okay? So I had said that you need more protein than you think. I said that you have to have right amounts of carbs. I also want to address healthy fats. So you also need to make sure you have healthy fats. This is most important for women in menopause. If you are in menopause and you do not care about the amount of fats in your body, this creates massive imbalances in your hormone. Again, I went through parts of this, and when I was competing, actually my coach never taught me the importance of fats. I learned this through time. I learned this through multiple other studies and things that I've done, is that it affects everything, the signaling in your body, all of that. And because your hormones are now not functioning as well, your estrogen drops, your progesterone drops, all these things drop in menopause, you need healthy fats. You need to be very cognizant of what are the fat percentages in your body. Now, I want to talk a little bit about, I want to address Yvonne's question, because I always get this. What is the ideal ranges of protein, carbs, and fat? Okay, are you thinking that? Is 36 eyeballs on here thinking that? Let me address this for you. First of all, I don't believe there are ideal ranges in general. I believe ideal ranges are specific to the person. Okay, that's my first response. There is no generalities for a person, because you come as unique as snowflakes, as corny as that sounds, okay? You come as unique as snowflakes, okay? If I gave you what I gave my client who had the perfect body recomposition to you, Yvonne, you would probably gain weight triple the speed, because the amount of caloric count she has, the amount of macros she has is crazy. I couldn't even eat the macros that she has. So I cannot give a general range because it's unfair to the person. If you were to read books, if you were to buy books on macros, if you were to look online and go through macro calculators, of course, they are always going to give you a generality. Okay, but I generally don't fully agree. So let's talk about that. So the idea is, so Debbie, in terms of 30 grams of protein per meal, that is how much can your body absorb per meal. But 30 grams of protein per meal may not mean that that is the exact assignment that someone should have. And I've had some clients that are slightly above that, slightly below that. And it's again, not that recommendation has to do with the absorption of your digestive gut for protein. So that again, we have to understand the science behind that, right? So I appreciate that though. I do appreciate you contributing, and you're welcome, Debbie. Hi, Margaret, great to see you. So let's talk about this. In textbook, it often says, generally speaking, 50, 30, 20, 50% carbs, 30% protein, and 20% carbs. Oh my goodness, let me say that again. 50% carbs, 30% protein, 20% fat. I disagree with that ratio. I'll just say it right out there. Typically, even on that ratio, I would go higher in my proteins on that ratio. I would go perhaps potentially slightly lower in the carb ratio, and I would go potentially higher on the fat ratio. Why? Because I specifically coach menopausal women. Menopausal women have a higher chance of insulin resistance, which means they have a higher chance of not doing well with carbs. They need more protein, and they have problems with hormones, which means they need higher fat percentages. So therefore, I don't even agree with standard book. And therefore, you have to understand that someone has to observe you, and you want an expert in the field of menopausal women to dial your macros, because it doesn't fall into a baseline standard. This is where I would say I don't really have general macros to give. I have specific macros to give for a specific person. Does that make sense to everyone listening? I'm hoping this actually makes sense to people, okay? So hopefully that makes sense to you. But really good question, Yvonne, and you're in the FFF program, so you don't have to worry. Like Oshone and I myself are monitoring, and we're doing a lot of stuff in the background to ensure you get the best calories and macros. All right, so I also want to talk a little bit, so we're talking about macro ranges. I know, Kat, you would gain weight at 50% carbs, totally. And just to give you an idea, like my client who has perfect body recomposition, she's really high. I think I could be wrong, but I think she's around 60% of carbs. If I gave that to Yvonne, you would be out of my program so fast. You'd be gaining weight so fast. You'd be like, what's going on? So yeah, I can't give you, just a general range, if that makes sense. All right, so let's talk a little bit about proper macros and how it affects also fat loss. Because proper macros, a lot of times we think about building muscle and proper signaling. But having proper macros also affects fat loss, because the whole point of body recomposition is to teach you how to build muscle and lose fat. So having proper macros is having proper amount of protein. This is very important for the overall thermic effect of your body, meaning how much energy it takes to break down food, and it helps your body stay more full, have more satiety, right? So protein is extremely important for fat loss, because you want to feel more full as you're in the process of losing fat. So proper amounts of protein, higher amounts of protein is important. Proper amounts of carbs. Proper amounts of carbs is really important, not just because of the insulin response I mentioned above, but in regards to actual proper muscle building, you have to have good amounts of carbs to push hard in your workouts. If you don't learn to push hard in your workouts and don't have the energy, like a lot of women who like carb restrict, you're just not going to be able to push hard in your workouts to get your muscle gain, okay? And number 3 is proper fats. Proper fats, like I mentioned, is about proper hormone signaling. Proper hormones is really important for fat loss, because it affects your metabolism as well as your satiety, like how full, how hungry you are. So with proper amounts of fat, it affects your cravings and affects your hunger signals. So relating to fat loss, this is why also, in addition to everything I said above about proper protein, carbs, and fat, this affects your fat loss process as well. So this is why having very dialed macros is really important, to have the actual ability to build muscle and lose fat at the same time, okay? So my question to all of you that are watching is, do you know your macros that is best for your menopausal body? So I'll ask you again, everyone listening, do you know your macros that is best for your menopausal body? And if you don't, I want you to put menopausal macros, okay? Menopausal macros, because the macro ranges for a menopausal woman is different. Hands down, I am not going to back down on that. I am 100% certain that this is why so many women do not achieve the results. They're going off of calculators, generalities, things that work for a guy, things that work for a 30-year-old, but specifically for your body at 50, 60 years old, do you have specific menopausal macros that help you achieve body recomposition? I want you to take into context what I'm asking you. I'm seeing lots of menopausal macros coming in place. You may have an amazing program, coach, all these types of things, which is awesome. I think there's amazing coaches out there. However, you have to be realistic about the goals that you have. Is the person that is coaching you giving you something that allows you to body recomposite, if that is your goal? Or are they giving you something to bulk you because they're a competitor? Are they giving you something that's bulking you and then they may be doing a shredding phase? They could be, and that could work too. But there is a different process involved. You have to be prepared to bulk and gain weight. And I know that some people in programs are like, oh, I'm so scared because I'm gaining weight, but my coach keeps telling me that's okay. That is okay. But you have to just recognize what process that coach's methodology is specifically bringing your body through. That is okay too. There is a reason why they may doing a methodology like that, but you have to understand there's a different process in what they're trying to accomplish, and your body may need to go up and gain weight and gain some muscle before they can pull you back. What I like to do is body recomposition. I don't generally like to go that direction of like pulling you more weight, because already it's hard for you guys to lose weight in menopause. You already have a losing battle. So for me to put more weight on you, to try to get you to bulk, is a little bit counterproductive to your menopausal hormones. Doesn't mean it doesn't work. I think if you're a competitor, I think there will be a season you have to bulk. But if you're not a competitor, I guess, do you want your body to go through so many fluctuations, or do you rather do it a little bit more gradually? And this is up for debate, and everyone's different. I just want to share with you that from what I've heard from other programs and sometimes these other ranges, they might just be using a different pathway to get you there, but it may take you a little bit like bulking first, then coming back to cutting, then like fluctuating a little bit more between things, right? But I like to stay within body recomposition zones. Okay. So I see lots of menopausal macros. Awesome. So we will connect with you. Just please make sure you check your messenger if you are requesting help, because the only way we can help you is if you actually check your messenger afterwards so that we can try to get you the help that you want. Awesome. Thank you everyone for contributing. I see Maria jumped in. Oh, hi, May. May's our VA. Good to see you. Awesome. So that's number 3. Number 4. So in the DNA methodology, Fierce Woman DNA methodology, I said D is do it right, do it hard, do it in your mind. N is nutrition. I'm still going to stay on the nutrition concept here, but number 4 is just a slightly different. Number 4, I want to talk about micronutrients, okay? Not just macronutrients, but micronutrients. Number 4, in terms of body recomposition, is you need the support of protein, carbs, and fat, but you also need to have really good, proper micronutrients that support muscle growth and fat loss and proper hormone signaling, okay? So proper micronutrients means proper vitamins, minerals in your body. Yeah, awesome, Kat. I know you were in the programs before, so that's awesome. So in terms of the proper micronutrient, vitamins and minerals, there's a lot of key vitamins and minerals that your body needs. I'm not going to go into all of them because that is dependent on some factors, but just to give you an example so you guys have an idea what I'm talking about is, for example, as women, you have to make sure you have vitamin D. It's very important for your muscle growth, for your bone health, for muscle contraction, and even for your gut health. For those of you in my 21-day program, you're starting to learn about the proper vitamins for absorption for your gut. So you have to have good vitamin D. You need to have good calcium and magnesium. Calcium, magnesium is about contraction of your muscles and then relaxation of your muscles. So obviously in muscle building, you have to have the proper support of calcium and magnesium to support these types of building blocks in your body. Magnesium also supports energy production, muscle relaxation, and protein synthesis. So making sure you have the right amounts of micronutrients. And for different people, there's more. There's usually a list of about 10 to 12 that you have to make sure is in your system to make sure that you have the best ability to build muscle and decrease fat. I just see Beate jumped in somewhere here. I didn't see Beate on my screen here, but hi, Beate, because I guess I see people saying hi, Beate. Hi, Lucy and Melanie. So you have to make sure that you supplement properly, although your best route is still whole natural foods. But I think that if you are in a position of body recomposition is very tricky. It's not simple. There's a lot of equations involved because is it simpler to do one process like just build muscle? Probably. And is it simpler to just focus on fat loss? Probably. But we're going to do right in the middle body recomposition. It just requires a lot more delicate balance of everything, including your calories, including your macros, including your micronutrients, ensuring the balance of those micronutrients are actually proper. So how many of you on here maybe never considered micronutrients before or feel like, is my micronutrients actually supporting my muscle growth and fat loss process? So if you feel like it isn't, and I want you to put micronutrients below, and this may be new for some of you. Maybe you never considered, like I also have to think about what micronutrients are entering my body to ensure the best muscle growth. So put micronutrients below if you feel like that is something you also need more help with, okay? All right, so that's number 4. So this is the topic, again, if you're just jumping in, of how to build more muscle and reduce body fat. So number 1 is address inflammation, chronic inflammation in your system. Number 2 is have proper muscle building programs. Number 3 is have proper nutrition guidance in both caloric count as well as macros. Number 4 is understanding micronutrients properly, what your body needs to support the best body recomposition situation. And number 5, this is along with the Fierce Woman DNA methodology, which is D, N, and then A. A stands for accountability and systems, okay? Accountability and systems is overlooked as how important it is, okay? There's a favorite quote of mine that says, you will never rise to the level of your goals. You will always fall to the level of your systems. I'm going to say it again. You will never rise to the level of your goals. You will always fall to the level of your systems. And this is so true in any way, any part of your life. And I've experienced that, I even now trying to work on better systems and certain things, because no matter how big your goal is, you don't have good systems, your goals will only go as far as your systems allow. Okay. Truth, Dawn says. That's awesome. Yeah. And so we're going to talk about structured systems of tracking in 4 areas that is very, very crucial for you. That is one of the baselines of how I design my programs. So number 1, you need to track workouts. This is extremely important to track your workouts. Proper tracking of your workouts, and all my clients who work in the app, you guys, that's why you have the tracking of those workouts, right? It allows you to, 1, progressively overload. Because you are tracking what you're doing, it allows the progressive overloading of that program so you can grow muscle, okay? And that needs to be progressed properly. Number 2, it allows you to have systems, like when you're tracking your workout, to see how your clients, like for me, I guess, to move. So like how you move and how you do your moves really does matter. So somebody tells me they did 10 Bulgarian split squats. How Debbie does her Bulgarian split squats is very different from how Oshone does her Bulgarian split squats, to how Kat Wilson does it, to how currently the new FFF ladies are doing Bulgarian split squats. So you have to track to understand how you're going to see someone doing their technical execution. And for workouts, tracking your workouts prevents overtraining. So overtraining is a really key problem for a lot of women, because you want to do more. You're not seeing results. You want to train more. You want to work out more. You want to do this. You want to try this move. And when you don't have a system of tracking your workouts, this is where you will lead to chronic inflammation in your body, because you're overtraining your muscles. Okay, so you need to track workouts. And Debbie says that burns Bulgarian split squats. Yes, but it's such a good move, Debbie. So in terms of structured system of tracking workouts, for those of you watching, do you have a dialed workout system? So if you don't have a dialed workout system, put dialed system below, dialed workout system. So you have to be tracking everything in your workouts and have an ability to progressive overload, have someone doing form checks with you, have someone understand what you're doing so you're not overtraining. Do you have a dialed workout system? So if you don't, put dialed workout system below. Okay, so that's the first area you need to track, structured systems of tracking for your workout. Number 2, you need to, Marie, I see dialed workout system. Perfect, Marie, and we will reach out to you and Jennifer as well. So the next thing you want to track is nutrition. You want to make sure you have a system to track your nutrition. So why is this really important? Okay, so you need to track your nutrition so that you can have proper calculated caloric load or caloric deficit. In particular, body recomposition requires really good understanding of where to load the calories and where to deficit it. It is a little bit of, there's a shift, but it is, if you track it, it's actually really easy to dial it. Like Jennifer Leah, I think we've dialed you a few times because you're tracking for me. Then I know exactly what we need to do with your calories, right? So it allows you to easily load and deficit your calories. Tracking your nutrition allows you to balance your macros more precisely, exactly where you need to shift your protein, carbs, and fat. Proper tracking of nutrition allows you to notice patterns in your metabolism. This is really crucial at a higher level, because when you actually are tracking everything and your coach can see what's happening in your body, like I'm going to use Jennifer again, when she starts wanting a lot of carbs, a lot of pancakes, and I'm just totally playing around with you, Jennifer, but there's certain reasons why she may be wanting that. And so it's not necessarily always about increasing carbs. It's noticing why she wants that. So when you track nutrition, is notice patterns in your metabolism. It will help you track more eating behaviors. When you track your food, you can notice cravings faster in people and what's going on with the cravings. If you track your food, you can also track inflammatory markers coming into the system better. Why I want my clients to track a lot of their food is because a lot of times as they go along at the beginning, they're very good with bringing down inflammation. And I'm sure Kathy Michalko, if you're on here, you'll agree is that slowly with time, or Debbie or whoever's on here, maybe even Lisa, slowly with time, inflammation markers start creeping back into your food. So by tracking, you prevent these inflammatory markers from entering your system again, right? Jennifer says lately it's been protein. Yes, Jennifer, I know. I was just teasing you a little bit about the protein pancakes and stuff like that. Awesome. And tracking your nutrition more properly allows you to also understand meal timing a little bit better. Meal timing is particularly important for muscle building. Meal timing is not so important maybe for fat loss. It could be for fat loss, but meal timing is more important for the protein synthesis and the anabolic state of your muscles. So when you track your nutrition, it becomes such a science behind how to make sure your body is actually improving, growing in muscle, and reducing in fat. So there's 3 things I focus on for those of you who follow me or my clients, whether you've been in my program before or you're still just starting. There's 3 things that we will focus on, including all the FFF ladies right now, is we are going to focus on quality of food, quantity of food, and timing of food. These 3 areas is what we really look to dial in your nutrition. So this is and this is how we produce the more precise results for body recomposition. So for all of you who are listening, what in terms of nutrition do you feel like you need more help with? Do you feel like it's quality of food you need more help with, quantity of food, or timing of food, or all 3? So do you need more help with quality of food, quantity of food, or timing of food? Okay, so put below which one do you feel like you might need more help with. So if we're talking about systems, okay, first is you need to track your workouts. 2, you need to track your nutrition. 3, you need to track, Andrea, see all 3. Okay, thank you. And Dawn, timing and quality. Yeah, thank you for kind of indicating that. We will address those with you later. So the 3rd thing you need to track is lifestyle habits. Okay, so in my app and a lot of my current clients, this is why we have you put things like water habit. Some of you have mindset habits, like Jennifer, you have a mindset habit, your sleep, amount of sleep, your amount of rest and recovery. So lifestyle habits, these other areas of things is extremely important that contribute to how well you will be able to create this balance between building muscle and losing fat at the same time. Because a lot of these lifestyle factors actually will influence tremendously whether you can build muscle, right, or cause more stress in your life where you can't build muscle, right? So with lifestyle habits, it allows you to monitor stress levels more. So when I can see somebody like not drinking enough water, or when I see someone, rest and recover is built into my programs for my clients. So rest and recover typically is not too much of an issue, but there could be things like sleep, like Tracy Liang. I know she's not on here, but we have a sleep habit for her that's pretty important that she's been getting much better at. So tracking lifestyle habits is about monitoring stress level so that we can address stress before it gets in the way of muscle building or gets in the way of losing fat. This is really important. And this is one of the, I think the biggest reasons behind tracking lifestyle is to control cortisol and work on mindset so that you can have a better supporting system for your workouts and for your nutrition. Okay. So for everyone that's watching, tracking lifestyle habits, do you, for all of you watching, do you feel like you need to have better tracking of lifestyle habits or mindset? Okay, so put either lifestyle habits or mindset. And why I say mindset is because if you don't track lifestyle habits, mindset gets in the way. Mindset will interfere with a lot of it because you're stressed, you're not getting enough sleep, you're, not tracking all these things. So put lifestyle habits or mindset if you aren't tracking that. You should be tracking that. Now, I'm going to say this particular tracking is going to be more important for certain individuals, okay? For certain individuals, this might be you. If you tend to not be motivated, you tend to go up and down feeling motivated sometimes not motivated. Sometimes you skip the gym, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you are doing good on your nutrition. Sometimes you don't do good in your nutrition, and you have a tendency to self-sabotage. If you are in any one of those categories, you absolutely need systems and accountability. That is one of the reasons preventing you from success, is that you fluctuate too much between feeling motivated, not motivated, wanting to do the gym, not doing the workout. You need systems and accountability. So I want you to put below, like, again, if you need to work on mindset, or lifestyle habits, but mindset, put that below, because that is going to be key, that you have good systems and structure. So put mindset below if that is you. The fourth thing, I see quality and quantity resonance. Awesome. The fourth thing you need to track is metrics and photos. Okay. So the fourth thing you should track in accountability and systems is metrics and photos. This is because in order to truly know how to dial your calories and your macros and your workouts in the most precise way possible, you have to have systems to get hard data so that your emotions don't rule the decision. Okay. You need systems to get hard data so that your emotions don't rule the decision. How many times my clients have said to me, I don't think anything's happening in my body, or I think I'm gaining weight, or I feel like I'm not gaining muscle at all. Nothing is happening. Can you increase my protein? Can you increase this? Can you, they're requesting things based on what they think, based on emotions. And when you personally dial your own macros, are you dialing your own macros based on emotions? Or are you dialing it based on hard data? Hard data is always going to be your go-to and is king. Okay, hard data is the king of proper dialing processes. So if you don't have hard data tracking your photos, your metrics, even your weight, even though weight is not always indicative, you need hard systems to track this so that you can have the best opportunity to body recomposite your body. Body recomposition is very tricky. That is why you need to be even more diligent with tracking. So in all of this, you need to track four things. You need to track workouts, nutrition, lifestyle habits / mindset, and metrics and photos. And so this is, if those who have gone through my programs, you guys know that these is why you have those systems of tracking in the app and around all these things I want you to track. Okay. So for those of you who are listening, if you are lacking in this area, I want you to put systems of tracking, and don't throw this out. I know a lot of people want to focus on nutrition. They want to focus on workouts, but systems of tracking is going to complete the picture. It's like the gift. You get the gift, you get the box, it's beautiful, you get the wrapping paper. But if you don't have the string and the tape that ties everything together, all of that is going to fall apart. You've lost the entire glue to the entire structural system of what's going to help you body recomposite. The systems of tracking is like that, tying everything together with that ribbon or the tape. So if you are honest with yourself, 29 eyeballs, do you have precise systems of tracking for workouts, for nutrition, for lifestyle habits, as well as metrics and photos? And if not, and you're not getting the results you want, then I want you to put systems of tracking and to recognize how important you need this in a dial process like body recomposition. Yeah, so Kat says, even though I'm motivated and consistent, I need to get back on better tracking again. And this is for a lot of people. A lot of people don't track and they never know why they cannot build the muscle they want or lose the fat that they want. Let me tell another truth here. The more and further along you are in your fitness process, meaning like you've been doing it a long time, you experience initial success in muscle building, you experience initial fat loss, the harder it gets as time goes to change the body recomposition. Your last 5 pounds is the hardest. Your next 5 pounds to gain muscle is the hardest after your initial gain, because your body will fight you against these next level changes. And that's why you have to be even more precise at the level that you need to properly body recomposite. And so it gets harder and harder the longer you go. And so for people in Muscle Accelerator, a lot of my Muscle Accelerator is like, you guys will notice it gets harder and harder. And so this is why you need to ensure you're tracking really precisely, or tracking and staying as consistent as possible, because now the changes in your body starts becoming harder and harder to execute. Okay. So again, put systems and tracking if this is something that's missing in your process. Okay. So I went through that quite rapid speed, and hopefully this all makes sense. So I'm going to remind you, these are the 5 things, if you want to call it the 5 secrets to body recomposition. Is 1, you need to reduce chronic inflammation in your body. Number 2, you need to have a dialed in muscle building program. Number 3, you have to have a precise nutrition system that understands the right quality, quantity, and timing of food. Number 4, you have to have right micronutrients to support your nutrition system. And number 5, you need to have right accountability and systems to tie everything together to make it work. Okay. This falls into my Fierce Woman DNA methodology. And if I was to ask all of you who are watching, if you've already contributed above, no problem, you don't have to answer. But for those of you who are listening, who are trying to absorb what body recomposition takes, I want you to think about those 5 key areas or 5 secrets to body recomposition. Which of the 5 do you believe is the most difficult or is the bottleneck to your success right now? Which of the 5 is the bottleneck to your success right now? So I'm going to repeat all 5, and I want you to tell me which of the 5 you believe is the bottleneck to your success in body recompositing. 1, reducing chronic inflammation. 2, not having a dialed in muscle building program. 3, not having a precise nutrition system in terms of quality, quantity, and timing. 4, not having understanding of micronutrients and proper supplementation to support your muscle growth and fat loss. Or 5, accountability and systems, not having good systems to track and dial in the process. Okay. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you can just give me the word on which one you feel like you're struggling with the most. Okay. You need all of the above, Jennifer says. Yeah, Sherry, we will tag you on the replay. Okay. And one thing I'm going to challenge all of you is, for all of you who are listening, whether it was 30 some eyeballs or now at 25, is listening passively, you're going to retain about 60% or 50%, even lower, I've heard. But if you actively participate and you write down what you need help with, and you actively participate, your retention of the knowledge becomes 80%. So you have to tell yourself, what is it that I need to work on? Where is my bottleneck right now for body recomposition? Write it down, put it below, and help yourself with like knowing where you need help. This is the most important part, right? So that is all, and I hope this added value. If this did, please put below whether you really enjoyed this live, you like what you liked about it. Put below. Always feedback is great for me. And like I said at the very beginning, if you are wanting understanding of what programs we offer, and obviously we have a few, I want you to put programs below. so that we can actually help you in figuring out what is the best approach to help you. Where's the gap? Where's the need for you? Put programs below if you are needing more guidance and help. So I hope that added lots of value. Sending you guys all lots of love, and I will see all of you later.